Good evening. It is Longhaultanker, straight razor shaving with Longhaultanker. And I am in a unique location tonight. I came out to Oregon. I had my delivery this morning in Woodburn, Oregon. And the plan was to visit my high school buddy. I've known him for 40 years. And though we lost contact with each other for a while, for the last 6 years anyway, if not more, 7 years, we have stayed in close contact. And he was the best man at my first wedding, and just a great friend, and brings back all of those cherished high school memories. Went to a small private Christian high school, and so all of those old friendships, it's one of the 120 students, K through 12, is where I went, and we played all the sports together. We did everything together. My senior class in 1977, graduating senior class in 1977, I think there was like 30 students. And it was the largest in the history of the school, and it had been in 1977. It had been in existence for nearly 20 years, and it continues to operate today. Anyway, nonetheless, I am in Lincoln City, Oregon, the seaside coastal town. I'm at the, the Surf Tides Hotel in room 305. My buddy put me up for the night over here, and so we went to dinner. We're going to go to breakfast and lunch tomorrow, and I'll go back to the truck tomorrow late afternoon and make my way Saturday morning back over to Troutdale, Oregon, to the Love's Truck Stops, and visit with my daughter and the grandkids for a couple of days there, a day and a half over there as well. So anyway, we're in the hotel. We're in the master bath. I say master bath. And so let's see, what can I do here? Let's go through the equipment for tonight. Let's get started. All right, so for our razor tonight, we're using a wonderful example of Robeson Shuredge, and it's a 5/8 with square point. It's got just mahogany colored, red colored plastic scales, and I may one day send this off for rescaling. I don't think I will, because even though it's plastic with a white plastic wedge there, they're in good condition. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not cracked. They're not broke. So couldn't be happier with this razor and its performance over the years that I've owned it. For our soap tonight, we're staying with Tabac, and I'm going to be careful not to overload the brush. And for our brush then, we are using Chubby Simpson 3 Manchurian Badger. All right, so we're right on the coast. I'm going to take get up. It's dark outside right now. It's about 9:15 Pacific time, and so it's dark outside. It was just turning dusk when we got over here. My buddy picked me up at the TA truck stop in Aurora, Oregon, and it was about a little over an hour drive back over here. So it was a bit of a sacrifice on his part to come and get me, and I appreciate him for coming and getting me. And we had a nice Mexican dinner. My buddy owns the Sambo's restaurant in Lincoln City. And so if you ever get over this way, I don't mind pumping a little shout out to him for his business, because he's been such a good friend over the years. And we don't see each other so far. The way it's shaped up, just by happenstance, is that I get a load out here so far it's been once every 3 years. So this is my third time out here. So over the last 6 years. All right. Let's see what we get here. A little slippery on the handle. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching me and sent me the real fun comments. You know, I just stand up here and do my thing. I'm not in this for any commercial reason. I have no commercial interest. I don't sell anything. I receive no money for doing anything. This is just me. I'm just a truck driver. And so with that notion, I said, I've got two passions in life. You know, my buddy, he knows, my high school buddy that I'm over here visiting, he knows I've got, you know, not everything in life goes the way that you want it, and sometimes you end up in the cab of a truck. And that's certainly my story in brief. And, but you know what? I'm happy. My wife's happy. And so I've got two, I can't say truck driving is a passion, like straight razor shaving is. It's a job. Do I like driving a truck, given all of the other alternatives in life? Sure. Is it what I studied? You know, is it what I got a master's degree for in school? No. But like I said, life can be disappointing. And so I drive a truck, and I'm happy, and I get to buy razors. That is to say, my wife allows me to buy razors. No, I haven't. We'll get that straightened up in a minute. I guess we look all right. Creamy. I don't think I overloaded the brush. We'll see in a minute. I am noticing that my hands are a little slick. The water is very soft out here. Here, look at this. We got another towel. You got a dry towel. We'll just flop that right there. All right, here we go. So, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. If you're watching me from the Shaving Cadre, thank you. Go over and check out theshavingcadre.com. Consider setting up an account and join in on the conversation. Everything is free over there as far as I know. And so, you know, it's a good bunch of people and good shaving videos. Last couple of days have been a lot of sitting and waiting on others, but that's, you know, that happens. Today's delivery was fine. Went without a hitch. Went without a hitch. And of course, that's always a good thing. I think when I get in, I'm going to have to refresh this edge is just a little tuggy, in my opinion. And I will probably refresh it up on the one of the Arkansas's, True Hard Translucent, or black, hard black. Okay. Okay. Oh, I want to return the favor to, I believe the name is Cutthroat Journey on YouTube, and the Shaving Cadre. He gave me a nice little shout out the other day about how he and his friend, or he and his brother, are watching my shaving videos. And so, for that shout out, I say thank you and return the favor. He has a variety of different kinds of razors from what I saw. And so if you're into the shavette and the double edge and the eclectic form, I guess, you know. I'm trying to think of something interesting to say. And talking to my friend tonight at dinner, you know, I told him about the YouTube channel and told him, of course, he's known about my interest and even fanaticism with the straight razor. So my high school buddy and I, we both grew up in Portland, Oregon. And not long after high school graduation, we moved, both of us went our separate ways and moved to different parts of the country. For me, it was Nebraska. For him, it was Southern California. And went our separate ways. And after about 20 years, he gave me a call. And we reconnected. And like I say, it was a small school, but even a small school has its hierarchy. And my friend was a state champion track star for AA, It's either single A or double A in Oregon, the way they rate that out. And he stayed in touch with so many other people, our friends and so forth from school. Than I did. Plus, he came back up here, you know, I knew his parents. I spent an awful lot of time at his house. His dad was the preacher at the church I went to growing up. Of course, he retired and got old, and so when I was here 3 years ago, I got to spend a couple hours with his mom and dad, who I knew so well. Back in the mid-70s. And like I said, in a small school like that, all the able-bodied boys played all the sports. And I'm really grateful for that. Whether it was, we didn't have a big enough student body to have a contact football team, but we played soccer and had a basketball, junior varsity and varsity basketball. And I remember my freshman year in high school, I'd played Little League growing up, so I loved baseball. And I remember the coach came to a bunch of us boys, because they didn't have a baseball team up to that time. It had lapsed or due to lack of interest or something. And so the coach came to a bunch of us boys and said, would you like to put together a baseball team and I coach it, he said. And I was all over that bandwagon because I love baseball and played I think I played 4 or 5 years of Little League baseball from 1968 up to that freshman year, which I think was 73, 74. I could be getting those dates wrong. Anyway, so we got, how many players you have to have for a baseball team, right? We had 8 players. We had to scrounge and get a number 9 guy, the 9th guy. And I'll never forget, he'd never played baseball before, didn't he? He was uncoordinated and so forth. And so, but we played. We got on the schedule. And like I said, that was our first year. But the thing about it is, all the boys that turned down, except for a couple, for that baseball team were all freshmen, all same age, same grade. And so we stayed together. And we lost every game that season, that first season. And I don't know that we were any much better. That second season. But the third season, my junior year in high school, things started clicking out of nowhere, and I mean nowhere. You know, and for a single A, double A high school, you know, and now we've got, you know, we've got 10, 12, 14 boys that have turned out for the team. And for a while there, I was a starting catcher and moved over to third base. Junior year, maybe senior year, moved over to third base. Anyway, my junior year, things just clicked for all of us. I'm batting 500, scratch that. I'm batting 400. You know, the guys' numbers are jumping like crazy. And so we made the playoffs. I think we lost in the second round of the playoffs, but still, it was a season for us boys who started that in our freshman year and revitalized the baseball team that hadn't played in years. And so, you know, it's that kind of stuff that makes for real memories and the friendships that come out of that. Also, with this same buddy that I'm visiting now, our junior year, this is before the baseball season, this is basketball. Like I said, we all played all the sports. Every able-bodied boy played all the sports. And so, now up to then, I played a lot of basketball, pickup basketball. I'm 6'2". You didn't know that about me, did you? I'm 6'2". And being a small school, I was the tallest guy on the junior varsity team. I say junior, I didn't play my freshman and sophomore years. Don't know why, I didn't like the coach for the junior varsity team, is really what it comes down to. And, but then, my junior year, there was a change the junior varsity coach was one of my favorite teachers in the whole school. And we'd been friends long before he became the junior varsity coach. So we played our season and everything was fine. And come playoff time for the varsity, now my buddy and I, we were both junior varsity. I was starting center and he was a starting guard, and I told you he was a track star, state champion track star. He could run and jump. We had this little thing. He's about, I don't know, 2-3 inches shorter than I am, but he would jump center at the beginning because he from flat-footed, he could dunk a basketball. Anyway, so I'm the tallest guy on the team, so he would tip to me, and then we had this little routine. He would tip to me, and then I would pass out to one of the other guards. And that usually made for a nice little fast break setup. But I told you all that to say this, and that is at the end of our junior year, he and I both playing junior varsity. The varsity coach, who was our baseball coach, comes to me and my buddy, and he says, no, that's not true. It wasn't the baseball coach. It was another guy, but very good. We both liked him, respected him. And he comes to me and my buddy, and he says, I'm allowed to take 2 more guys into the playoffs. They had made the playoffs, the varsity. And I want you and the buddy to come over to the varsity. You're probably going to play varsity next year anyway. And he said, our senior year, which we did. And of course, we knew all the players. On the varsity team, they were our classmates. They were our pals in a small school like that. We were all friends until we weren't, but then we were again. And he remembers and I remember, but slightly different, that in that, I think it was the first playoff game for the varsity, that right toward the end of the first half, I don't remember how much time was left, but I remember it was toward the end of the first half. Anyway, right toward the end of the first half, the varsity coach makes for a substitution to give a couple of the starters some relief, and he puts me and my buddy in to relieve our counterparts. And now here's the way I remember it. Very similar, but it's just actually the number of times that it happened, is that either he or I would get the rebound. If it was him, because he was so fast, he could just run down the court. Or I would rebound and pass off to him, and he would run down the court, and I would trail, whichever instance that was, I would trail him. So anyway, I would trail him, and he would act like he's going in for the layup. But, as often happens in such kinds of cases, it's not long till the defense starts gaining on you, no matter how fast you are. And they were all focused on him because he was so fast and so forth, but I wasn't, not that I was slow, mind you, but I was big. But I was a pretty good shot from inside the key area and just in that general area. And then he would dump off back to me, and either I would go in for the layup, and or I'd shoot from, short perimeter and score. Now, here's where the stories differ. His memory, my memory. I know for sure that we did that at least twice in a row, back to back. He seems to have a memory that we did it 4 or 5 times in a row, back to back. I'm just grateful that he remembers, because that was a long-standing memory, and I didn't, especially those years that we were not in contact. I go through my senior high school yearbook and look at the basketball team and look at my buddies, and I would remember that game and those plays. Well, then he and I reconnect, and he remembers it as, 4, 5, 6 times. And I just remember it being 2 times. Okay, fine, whatever. But here's the kicker on the story. The kicker is, well, there's a follow-up and then the kicker. And so the follow-up is that halftime comes, and we go into the locker room, we do our halftime thing, whatever that was. And when we come back out to the floor, the coach puts the original starting 5 back on the floor, which I didn't think anything about. I was not as good a basketball player as I was a baseball player, and I was not as good a second string basketball player as the starting counterpart. And so I didn't think anything about him starting at the second half, the starting 5. Didn't think anything about it. All right, here's the kicker. Now, we just weren't close together with the student body, but the teachers as well. Small private Christian school, everybody knows everybody, including the teachers. The teachers knew our parents by name. Now, Leon, you keep on doing that, we're going to call your mother, and I don't think she's going to be happy. Oh, I had some teachers. And so the kicker is, my buddy, who came back to Oregon after some years away, comes back up to the area, gets reacquainted with all of the, what's going on at the old school, who's there, who's not there. And a lot of the teachers that we had were still there when he came back. And so he reacquainted himself with everybody. And that varsity basketball coach went to him and apologized to him that he took us out at the beginning of the second half because we had done such a good job at the end of the first half. He just didn't think about it. And he put the starters back in. And that kind of blew the momentum, whatever. I don't remember if we won or lost that game. It don't matter. But I just think it's interesting that the coach apologized to my buddy that he didn't put him and I back in at the beginning of the second half. It's an acknowledgement that you did a job well done. And so that's one of the great memories that I have with my buddy in high school. He was and it's just, again, it's a small school and they're all together. He was the guy, he was the handsome guy. He was the sports state track champion. He was, dare I say, everything that I was not. But we ended up being good friends, even in, there in high school, and he was my best man in 1979. Did I tell you I had 60 hours plus growth of whiskers on my face? And they feel it too. Tonight, I'm not really tired, but when you sit in a truck waiting on other people, you're not driving. I got back to the truck stop. I got in early yesterday to this truck stop I posted up at for overnight for today's delivery. And had a lot of downtime yesterday. I had a lot of downtime this afternoon after I got back to the same truck stop after delivery. And here's the other thing I was going to tell you about that. And there's nothing you can do about it. You just, moan and complain. And that is that the TA truck stop at Aurora, Oregon. And this is when I got 60 hours worth of whiskers on my face and I couldn't shave last night, is that and it's a TA truck stop, not a Love's truck stop, which means I couldn't have gotten a private shower unless I paid real cash money for it. So as I do in such circumstances, I look to shave in the public restroom. And I walked in there. I always walk in there first to see if the accommodations are suitable. I don't want real cramped counter space. And TA and Petros are usually pretty good about that. But their only men's public restroom was under renovation. There was no water hooked up to the sinks. They did have a countertop. They did have the basins in the countertop, but no water and no mirrors. And I said, well, shoot. And of course, there's not another close truck stop. There's a Flying J across the street, and I went over there today, and it was too crowded. I know why it was crowded, because the other one didn't have water. Now, I can tell you that truck drivers can be a bunch of whiny little girls when they want to be. And not getting hot water and a suitable place to shave at a public restroom, that's the minimum standard, let me tell you, that truck stops ought to have. But, if you're under renovation, and I've never seen a TA truck stop that didn't have more than one men's public restroom. But it is what it is. The Simpson brush is performing admirably. I think the last two shaves that I've had and used this brush, I think we've only had, one or two, three bristles fall out, minimal. And I dare say that before I get home, it will drop down. In fact, I hadn't been any tonight. And my rule of thumb, as you already know from the other Simpson that we broke in, some weeks ago, not too terribly long ago, but my general standard is that if you only have a problem if it's still shedding after and more than just one or two, after 30 days. And but at the end of the first week or two, if it's still shedding, give it to the end of the month. But if you're only shedding one or two, no, you're doing fine. And after the first couple of weeks or here we are, it's been about a week that I've been on the road on this Oregon trip. In fact, I'm so comfortable and confident in this brush that I was thinking about breaking out the next one. I did bring two with me. And the other one that I brought is the companion piece, the QED companion piece to that faux horn Manchurian silver tip. with those super soft, what I compare to high mountain white bristles. And I haven't seen anybody comment on that. Please feel free, and I encourage you, because I just like input, shared experience on these super soft bristles that I call affectionately, feel like silk, even when not wet and dry, and you rub it on your face and it's just unbelievably soft. And I've got other brushes that have what's called high mountain white. This Simpson Chubby 3 Manchurian Badger feels more like I'm going to say traditional Manchurian brush, but I say that not really. If it were not for the fact that the Simpson is pretty much the standard, and so if this is what a Manchurian Badger is supposed to be, excluding all others, then I want to know what that Manchurian Silvertip, which feels so much like what others call a high mountain white, is. I mean, it's just, I don't understand, and those, the high mountain white and the QED's Manchurian Silvertip, they're two-banded as opposed to single-banded. You know what I mean by that? If not, ask and I'll answer. Yeah, those kinds of memories are the kind of memories that life is made up of. And I'm sure you've got similar kinds of things that have happened to you in your young life that were formative, stayed with you. Hopefully you have friends and stay in contact with those friends from 30 and 40 years ago, even though you've moved across country and no longer in close proximity to some of these people. They make connections to your past. We were talking about family and kids at dinner tonight about and how grandkids, imagine a couple, never had kids, never had grandkids. What have they got to keep them young? And I feel young. And I think it's largely in part to my grandkids. I don't get to see them all the time. Now, my step-grandchildren, I get to see them frequently enough. They live 20 miles from us. And I just love them to death. Talking to my granddaughter, step-granddaughter, about social issues, moral issues, spiritual issues. And, you know, sometimes she spouts back the traditional school secular line. I say, you know, bless her heart. They don't listen. They don't listen to you as parents and grandparents. They don't even really listen much to their teachers in school, which thank God for that. But it's their peers that they listen to, and stuff on TV and YouTube and internet. And of course, it's all secular. It's all as secular as can be. And so sometimes when you get into these kinds of discussions, it's challenging. That is good enough for the left hand under that chin. So I told my friend I got a YouTube channel, and I've got, 45, 47, 48 videos up on it with straight razor shaving, and got, a few followers, not many. I'm getting some nice comments. And he said, well, what do you do? I said, I shave with a straight razor and tell stories about truck driving. Really? Oh, one more thing. So my buddy, he puts me up in this hotel. I am on the beach, on the Pacific Ocean. I got a little balcony looking right out on the water. And I'm as happy as a clam in sand. Yeah, but we'll leave here tomorrow and go back up to Troutdale. I think I have offered to stay an extra day till Saturday morning if he prefers, or not. I mean, you know, I don't want to put him and his family out. He is running a business. Anyway, so I'm going to get some pictures of the sand and surf tomorrow morning. And it's been cool up here too. I mean, almost downright cold. I think it's I don't know what it is right now, but I wouldn't be surprised about 45 degrees outside. Yeah, we're running a little long tonight, but I've been tired and moving slow and it's late. Yeah, I remembered to bring my my camera mount tonight, so I regard that as a good thing. I got in some good movie watching last night and this afternoon, and I watched. Of course, I have unlimited data, and I got Netflix and Amazon Prime. Okay, we're getting there at 1 hour and 13 minutes. But you know, so what? You want to run it fast forward, go ahead. Go ahead. It don't bother me. It really don't. I'd rather you spend the physical labor pushing the button, running it fast forward ahead, than me having to take an extra hour to edit the thing down to make it, 20 minutes. No. Yep. Yep. My friend from high school, 40 years ago. I knew his mom and dad, I knew his sister, I knew his brother-in-law, and we all got along great. And of course, his dad, who just passed away last year, the one that was the preacher of the church that we all went to. And I saw him when I was here last time, 3 years ago. Had a lovely conversation with him. Again, it's another one of those shared experiences that my friend and I had and I know he appreciated how much respect and attention I gave to his dad. All right, let's. Ooh, I gotta let that heat up. That's cold. Yep, usual places. And I'm going to do a head shave here in a few minutes after I'm done with this part of it. Okay. And one more spot. Okay. One more little spot right down here. And I think that does it. So tonight, Robeson Shuredge, about 5/8 square point, beautiful razor, top quality example of American steel. On the edge there, I can't read it. I believe it says Rochester, New York. And so, American steel. I don't have very many examples of these, but I think I've got some good examples, top quality examples. Simpson Chubby 3 Manchurian Badger. I got enough lather there to do my head. And we use the Tabac as a shave soap. So I want to say goodnight. Thank you for staying with me this long. Check out theshavingcadre.com. Thank you for watching on YouTube or wherever you're finding me from around the world. Appreciate you. Thank you. See you down the road.